am not a king, I am not a saint. I have problems in my head, my friends told me I've changed. And I used to be gold like the first man made. Now I'm buried in the earth till the...
Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're looking at something, well, really interesting. It's the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Disclosure Act of 2024.
Right. It's tucked inside a bigger defense spending bill for 2025.
And our goal today is to, cut through the jargon and really understand what it's trying to do.
Specifically about releasing government records on UAPs.
Yeah, UAPs, maybe unknown tech, even non-human intelligence.
That's in there too.
So think of this as your shortcut, your quick guide to understanding this potentially huge piece of legislation.
Exactly. It's aiming for transparency on a topic that's been pretty secret for a long time.
Decades, really.
And this act wants to change that, mandating release of UAP info.
Okay, let's dig in. The absolute core seems to be creating this Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Records collection.
Yep, housed at the National Archives.
Seems straightforward enough, but the emphasis is on swift access, right?
Absolutely swift.
Yeah.
There's a definite push here to get past what the bill's writers see as problems with current declassification.
Like issues with the Atomic Energy Act, maybe hiding UAP stuff?
Precisely that. And this idea of transclassified foreign nuclear information potentially being used, maybe inappropriately.
So the goal is more oversight by elected officials.
Yes. And also to really open up scientific research in this area.
It suggests a feeling that important info has been kept back.
From officials and the public, yeah.
So let's talk definitions. What counts as a UAP according to this act? They get pretty specific.
They really do. It's interesting. UAPs are basically things, objects in space, air, water, maybe moving between them.
Transmedium travel?
Exactly. Things that can't be easily explained by known tech or, natural phenomena.
And they list characteristics.
Instant acceleration, hypersonic speed, but with no heat signature, weird lift, stuff like that.
It covers the whole history from flying discs onwards.
Pretty much. And it's not just sightings. The term Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Record is incredibly broad.
Okay.
It covers anything related to UAPs, but also technologies of unknown origin.
Meaning like materials, crashed vehicles, stuff we can't identify.
Exactly. Stuff without a mundane explanation. And then there's non-human intelligence.
Wow. So sentient non-human life possibly linked to UAPs.
That's the definition. The records could come from almost any government agency, contractors, you name it.
But they exclude things that turn out to be like balloons or drones eventually.
Yeah, but temporarily non-attributed objects are excluded. And they also define legacy programs.
Meaning past or ongoing secret studies of all this.
That's the idea. Past and present efforts.
Okay, so all these records go into this new collection.
At the National Archives, yes. Supposed to be set up within 60 days of the act passing.
60 days is fast.
It is. And it includes all relevant government records. Doesn't matter how old, what classification, even if they were already maybe partially released or denied before. And they want a subject guide, an index, online access, ideally within 180 days. It points towards, a serious effort for public access.
That's a tight schedule. So how do they actually decide what gets out? There must be sensitive stuff.
That's the job of the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Records Review Board.
An independent board.
Supposedly, yes.
Yeah.
Made up of qualified people, experts. They get significant power.
How does it work? Agencies find the files first.
Yeah. Agencies have about 300 days to find, organize, and prep UAP records. And crucially, they can't destroy anything or reclassify stuff that's already public.
Okay.
Then the review board looks at it. They decide on release. Postponement is possible, but only with clear and convincing evidence of specific harm.
Harm to national security, intelligence sources, that kind of thing.
And this is key, that potential harm has to be weighed against the public interest in actually knowing.
A balancing test.
Exactly. And the president can step in and overrule the board for executive branch records.
But they have to justify it.
In writing, yes. And there's a time limit on secrecy, too. Generally 25 years max, unless the president certifies serious harm, still outweighs public interest.
Okay, what about the big one? The stories about recovered materials, maybe even bodies.
It addresses that directly. It states the government has the right of eminent domain over privately held.
Privately held.
Privately held, recovered technologies of unknown origin and biological evidence of non-human intelligence.
So if someone has something in their garage?
Well, the Act says if such things exist, they must be made available to the review board for review.
That's quite something. It feels very thorough.
It does. It even encourages, the Attorney General to help unseal relevant court records.
And asks the State Department to talk to other countries.
Yeah. Seek disclosure from foreign governments. It really signals a broad push.
And it overrides other laws on disclosure.
Generally, yes. Except for specific things like tax info or certain gift agreements, it shows this act is meant to be the primary authority here.
So summing up, this act sets up a whole new process.
A structured one.
Yeah.
Involving the agencies, this independent review board, the National Archives.
All aimed at bringing potentially hidden information into the open.
The implications, well, they could be huge. For science, for how we see national security, for just public understanding.
Absolutely. So, thinking about everything this act covers, all those definitions, historical records, materials, what's maybe the most surprising thing you think could possibly come out of this?
That's a tough one.
And how might that really change things? Something for you to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
I am not a king, I am not a saint. I have problems in my head, my friends told me I've changed. And I used to be gold like the first man made. Now I'm buried in the earth till the robin come and wake me